My wife has been controlling in our marriage. Now I feel burned out.
Burning out for you, baby.
Hi, all. Changing some details to provide anonymity, of course. I, 27 male, and my wife, 28 female, have been married for 6 years now and together for 9 years. We met at work when we were both teens and started dating. They were my first real girlfriend, so I had my first everything with them. To this day, she is still the only woman that I have ever had the spicy sleep with, and the only other kiss with a girl I had was when I was like 12, and it almost doesn't count to me because it was basically a kiss just to kiss someone. By the way, this comes from user throwawayduh8883 on the r/OK storytime subreddit. So, early in the relationship, she had stated that she wasn't going to college and had no plans to, while I had plans to move multiple states away for college, and decided to go to a more local college to be able to stay with her. We ended up getting a rental near the college together about a year into dating. After this point is where things honestly seem to get messy. Not going to the college you wanted to go to move in with your high school girlfriend is definitely going to get messy. I'm just putting that out.
It's one of those things you live and learn with.
One day while I was at home, my girlfriend asked me to get her phone for her, and I noticed a Tinder notification on it. I confronted her about it and honestly wasn't even angry at the time, but more disappointed. She was talking to a guy on there about music and other things that weren't bad on their own, but it was still on Tinder. She said she heard about the app from a friend and was told it was a place for her to find new friends. She was homeschooled and says that she didn't know what it was and then promptly deleted it when I explained it's a hookup app. I decided to forgive her and move on. One day I was at home when my girlfriend went through my Snapchat and saw that I was texting an old female friend from high school on it, and I had said that my girlfriend was being a bit of a bee to them. Understandably, my girlfriend was upset that I was speaking about her like that to another woman. Looking back, that was honestly childish of me, but I was also 18 at the time, and I definitely learned from it. My girlfriend decided that because I wanted to continue to talk with my old friend, that I was cheating on her, and decided to leave. I ended up caving and told her I would cut them out of my life, and after about a week or so, we had gotten back together officially. Now, my wife is a very traditional woman and is all about no spicy sleep before marriage. Honestly, this wasn't a big deal to me as I was content with waiting for her, but as you would expect with two 19-year-olds living together, we ended up doing the deed before we were married. She had a complete breakdown afterwards, which made me feel terrible. A few weeks later, she said that we either needed to get married or break up because she didn't want me to keep being with her and getting all the benefits of being married without being married. I honestly wasn't ready to get married, but I also wasn't ready to break up. At the time, I told myself that I could always get a divorce if things didn't end up well.
No! God, well, how old are you now?
Dude, what kind of environment brought these kids up, man? Like homeschool and clearly casual divorce. You know what? We'll get married, and if it doesn't work out, I'll divorce at 19 and a half. Dude. But right now, I really liked her, and I wanted to continue that relationship. We got married roughly 6 months later after dating for 3 years. At first, things were great, and we moved away to a bigger city to start our careers. I ended up starting a sales job, and my branch had shut down about 3 months in. Part of the closure was an opportunity to move back to a branch closer to our hometown where we could live closer to her family. We ended up taking the offer, and we moved in with her family until we could get our own place. Keep in mind, this was during the beginning of COVID, and we lived in a small room in her parents' house with terrible HughesNet internet and no cell signal. About 6 months of that situation, I told her we had to move back to the bigger city and transfer to a branch there. She was hesitant at first, but reluctantly agreed. One of my female friends, Sam from this city, told me that this branch had an opening and would put in a good word for us to move back. We ended up transferring and moving back to the city. Now, as we lived here the second time, is where the trouble came. My wife seemingly became terrified that I was cheating on her. Every day was an accusation. Every text message was checked. My location was tracked. Even my late nights at work were an affair. And every time I just told her I wasn't cheating on her because I don't know how to prove it. Now I know I did this to myself, but the constant pressure of being scrutinized made me want to start hiding things. I'm going to give you a pro tip right now.
Break up.
If this is your relationship,
break up.
Break up. Especially if you are 19. Well, I guess now technically divorce because you got married.
I don't think they got married yet.
They got married before they knew what the real world was. That's never a good idea. For example, Sam moved to a new house and I bought them a housewarming gift. I used my credit card so my wife was able to see a charge for a purchase she didn't recognize and asked me what it was for. Not wanting to deal with the scrutiny, I lied and told her to wait until Christmas as it was coming up.
Dude, both of you are bad. Both of you are so bad at this.
They're 19 and they got married. She didn't believe me and I reluctantly told her what it was really for. This started another argument about how she wasn't able to really trust me because I was lying to her about buying presents for other women, which is true, dude.
You should have just told her. I don't know why you didn't tell her.
She ended up saying that she was going to get a divorce, and I told her to give me another chance. I would increase my transparency.
You should have just let her divorce you. You should have gotten the divorce.
Okay, continuing on. Sam and I would frequently talk after work and just hang out outside of the building as we left to go home. I did end up opening up to her about how jealous my wife had gotten about everything. I did tell my wife that I had these conversations after a while, which caused her to dislike Sam even more. One day, Sam invited me, her boyfriend, our boss, a few coworkers, and their spouses, and my wife to a bowling event. During the event, I had tapped Sam's friend on the shoulder to let her know that it was her turn to bowl. And at another point in the night, my boss's wife had tapped my arm to get my attention in a similar way. After we finished bowling and got in the car, she was noticeably upset and wouldn't talk to me. When we got home, she said she wanted to be alone and asked me to get out of the car and go inside. After a bit of trying to get her to open up, I relented and went inside. She managed to sneak in and go to bed without me noticing, and the next day she said she was going to go spend a week with her parents after she got off work. When I asked her why she was upset, she said it was because of the touching and said it was too personal. Once again, what will we do? 1, 2, 3. Break up. Divorce. Yeah, divorce. The big adult breakup. Divorce. I told her that she was being ridiculous, but she wanted to stay with her parents regardless. I convinced her to stay and talk to me for about 30 minutes after she got off work. I bought her a handful of snacks and energy drinks for the ride and basically told her that the touches weren't anything other than a way to literally get someone's attention in a crowded room. She ended up leaving that night and decided to stay with her parents for a bit. That night, on her way to her parents' house, she hit a dog and texted me to tell me that she decided she wanted to stay together because in that moment, she was aware of how it felt to be alone and that she loved me.
I think she's a psychopath.
What did I just
I think she's a
read?
psychopath. She hit a dog and then she's like, I think I want to stay with him because that makes me want to, like, that makes me feel alone. I think she's a psychopath.
I have read lines of actual psychopaths doing psychopath stuff, and that is one of the most psychotic things I've ever read.
That's very psychotic. I am scared for you now.
I told her I wanted to still spend the whole week alone now, and I went to stay with a friend for the week.
Okay.
Could it possibly be the end? Please let this end.
We are betting on it. It did not go the right way. Thank goodness.
You do not need to be with this girl. What she didn't tell me is that when she hit the aforementioned animal, it did so much damage to her car that she couldn't drive it and had to get it repaired and get a rental.
Oh my gosh.
When I came home after the week, she said that I had abandoned her during a vulnerable moment and wasn't there for her when she needed me. I told her that if we were going to try and make this work, we were going to marriage counseling. She declined, and I told her we were done then. We both just lost a lot of money.
It's okay. The house always wins.
We're down $1,100, but I'm so happy about it. She changed her mind and agreed to go. Dang it! During the counseling sessions, it seemed like it wasn't really helping, to be honest. We both told our sides of what was happening, and they basically said we needed to figure out if we wanted to be together. My wife went down a self-help rabbit hole and bought dozens of books. Around this time, I had gotten a promotion to run my own branch, and Sam had moved away to manage her own branch as well. I ended up cutting Sam out of my life due to it causing my wife to get jealous. Keep in mind, my wife is able to have male friends because she, quote, hates women and otherwise wouldn't have friends.
Oh my gosh, there's so many red flags here.
That's
I know you guys are young, but oh my gosh, this is not young love. This is young torture.
Yeah, you said it best.
This is so bad.
One time, my wife invited me out to a work dinner with her and her almost exclusively male coworkers, 1 female coworker, and I had to decline because I had COVID, which she knew, and she had been driven home due to being too drunk to drive. I felt bad, but I essentially just completely started ghosting her and only responding to work-related messages in the shortest format possible. She eventually took the hint and stopped messaging me until one day Sam had to transfer back to my branch for family reasons. She had taken a demotion to make it work. I adamantly tried to find another way for her to be put in a nearby branch to avoid her being at mine, but it was out of my hands due to upper leadership. Now, around this time, the upper leadership took a look at the branch and realized that Sam was performing better than mine and decided that I should be the one to step down and Sam should have my spot. I ended up transferring to another department entirely to avoid working with Sam and to get away from my former employees out of shame from being demoted. I honestly think I managed to convince myself to hate Sam. I convinced myself that she was the reason I was demoted. I convinced myself that she and my boss worked it out together due to them being on really good terms. My wife joined in on the hate train and kept essentially egging it on, convincing me to hate her more and more.
I'm seeing red all over.
This is going to be a great ending, though, when he leaves.
I don't care anymore.
Right?
I've lost all my empathy and sympathy for this.
Guys, don't get married when you're 18 and a half. Don't do that.
No, you can. It's just don't get married to psychotic people. I'm going to tell you right now, both people in this story, they're both psychotic in their own very little good way.
If the marriage was going to work at 18, the marriage will work at 25. That's all I'm saying. I mostly ended up isolating myself from doing anything social out of fear of making her mad, but I talked with my male friends on Discord and played games with them. Once or twice a year, I would manage to go with them to do things, but my wife would insist on coming or being invited. Unfortunately, my wife doesn't like my friends and makes it very awkward when she's there because you can feel the tension and awkwardness. I've discussed some of these things with them in the past. I eventually just stopped going out entirely unless it was with her, and I really just didn't want to deal with any more accusations or drama. A year and a half went by, and everything seemed good with my wife, and we ended up having her sister and her husband move in with us because we were planning on moving closer to her parents, and I was going to transfer back to the branch near her parents. At first, this was fine, and then she started to get so angry with them. She would every day and every night just rant about things like how they didn't do the dishes enough or didn't take out the trash enough. When we finally got to transfer about 6 months later, we moved in with her brother and his wife for about 8 months. She was about the same in terms of attitude towards them. She would get angry and complain to me all the time about how they wouldn't pull their weight or do chores. By this point, we had our first baby on the way, so I let her quit her job to prepare to be a stay-at-home mom.
This is going to be a terrible environment for that child. I am scared for that child. I'm sorry. I'm scared for that child.
Oh, OP, I hope you see the light by the end of this. And now I have to think of the children. Around 2 months ago, I had a dream about Sam and me just hanging out outside the store like we used to, and I woke up in absolute tears. I hid them from my wife, but I spent the next 3 hours just bawling and feeling so bad because what I did to her isn't me. For context, I drive about an hour and a half to work and back every day, so I cried from when I woke up to when I got in the shower, left for work, and the entire drive nearly. Around here, I've started to have serious doubts about where I'm heading in my life.
Now?
Well, yeah, I'd say bawling your eyes out from the moment you wake up to the moment you arrive at your job
After
when you
an
have
hour-
an hour and a half commute.
Yeah, dude. This guy, it's hitting him hard. It's hitting him real hard.
Do I really want to do this forever? Is this my life now? I can't even go out and be with my friends or buy myself something nice without dang near having a panic attack at this point. But now I feel obligated to stay as this baby boy is amazing. He's truly the best thing, and it still feels surreal even though he's been with us for 6 months now. I also have fears that maybe this really is just how our relationship is. It isn't. For God's sakes,
No.
it isn't. And I won't have anything better. She tells me that we have both made mistakes in the past and any healthy marriage has to work through them. I opened up to her about my anxiety and fears, and she says she doesn't even know why I feel that way since she hasn't been crazy in almost 2 years now, which were her words, not mine. She says to just go out and try to do things, and she will trust me now, but I really can't. There's a block that just prevents me and gets me so tense that I don't want to do anything outside of the home. I honestly feel so cooped up that I enjoy my days at work more than my days off. My wife went to stay with her sister for a week, and the entire time, the only time I felt sad was when I saw any of my son's things. It was honestly crushing to see his playmat or toys. I know I should just be happy that she has seemingly changed, but I don't know why I can't seem to accept it and feel like I won't be able to move on. But I also don't want to leave my son in a broken family. But you know who will never leave you? Us. And when we go live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Twitch, all you got to do is tap our profile and you're in the live. Heck, we might even be live right now.
Probably.
But before you check on that, let's finish this story.
Young love sometimes is crushing and it's very naive and it's stressful and you learn from it. I don't think OP ever got to learn from this. It was just like a consistent, gets back sucked into it like a black hole.
I feel like OP and his wife probably both come from an environment where marriage is emphasized very heavily, like from the beginning.
I at least think it's from his wife, because his wife, again, was homeschooled, and that was her upbringing. She did kind of force his hand, like, if you're going to be with me, you got to get married right now. And he was just like, I guess.
I mean, he was the same way. He's like, I had no problem waiting. And then they just like low-key didn't because you were 19.
Yeah, it was very young and naive and young love. But again, this is like his first love, and they were just like, well, let's rush into it. It was just like, rush.
So there's just so many red flags that they might not even have been able to see. I've tried to go to a therapist, but they essentially told me that I should just make a pro and con list and see if I should stay with her, and didn't tell me any other advice other than, that seems tough.
Dude, I wish you could get out of this so bad.
OP, did you write the pros and cons list though? I don't think you did.
Did you read what you wrote?
Recently, my wife admitted to me that she thinks she gave me PTSD and was sorry. She also admitted that the only reason she threatened divorce in the past was because she wanted me to open up to her, but that she doesn't believe in divorce and wouldn't sign any papers. Oh my God, it's just nuclear waste levels of toxic. I don't really know where to end this post, so I'm just going to go ahead and end it here. You should have ended this post when you moved in with your girlfriend in the first year of college, which, by the way, isn't the college you wanted to go to. And then things started getting weird. You should have ended it there.